we go. Okay, so one thing I want to say about our seminar is we're going to do an activity tonight that, you know how you have to turn in an expressive arts project with your integrated arts assignment that's associated with visual arts. You can use the project that we create tonight. You may not finish what we start tonight, but you can definitely take, if you're here in person, you can take some stuff home. If you're at home, you can finish it up, and you can use what we do in the seminar as that expressive arts project. Okay, so I wanted to kind of clarify that. So we are going to focus on the visual arts for our time this evening. But to get started, for this week, you were reading the Cornet Chapter 7, which is a PDF of seed strategies, and I think they call them arts integration tools or toolkits, something like that. So what I'm going to do is, for those of you who are on Zoom, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. And you want to talk about a seed strategy that you read about, and just talk about, like, how do you think about taking that little, I love the term seed strategy, because the idea is it's like this little seed that you can grow into something really cool in your own teaching context. So in your breakout room on Zoom, talk about how do you want to take that seed strategy and make it bloom into something you can use. And then we'll have 3 people here in the in-person class that are sharing together. And let's give ourselves like let's start with like 7 minutes to do that. So I'm going to go actually probably, okay, here we go. Okay, so we're going to talk this evening, and we're going to create what are called identity text. So I want to give you an overview of this. It comes from research in Canada with in Toronto. They had a large influx of immigrants who came there for various reasons. And they were noticing that these students in the schools were feeling kind of marginalized, not like they were fitting in and that kind of thing. So this research was really born out of the real need for students to put their identities out there in a positive way, and for students that they were peers with to kind of see these identities along with them and really celebrate these aspects of their identity. So first, kind of reflecting on why identity is important altogether. And there's some quotes I have here. So our identities are made up of cultural factors, such as socio-demographic conditions, also like social institutions, right? Artifacts like physical objects that we feel connected to, definitely significant others that are in our life, and practices and activities that are all wrapped up in our identities in that way. And since these factors are bound to change in our lives over years, right? Our identity is not a set thing, but it's actually in a constant evolution. Honestly, like who I am and my identity right now it has some huge differences than how I identified even 10 years ago or 15 years ago on that. So that's also important to realize, right? Like identity is not this like set thing, but it's also, you know, kind of moldable and it evolves. Also, our identities are not singular. They shift for different social context. And Brewer and Gardner talk about this being both the me and the we simultaneously. Here's a practical example of that. When I'm here in the classroom with you, I am a particular identity, right? There are aspects of my identity that don't enter into this space so much with you. But if I go to, I meet regularly with a group of folks at the at Crooked Line Studio in town. And when I'm there in that space, engaging with people and activities, I have some different parts of me, right, that come out there that don't always come out in this context. Those are all parts of my identity, but they're like sometimes very different parts that, you know, only come out at those different contexts. Also, our identities, we both influence and are influenced by our social context. So that means even here in this classroom, in the Zoom and in the physical classroom, at the same time, part of my identity and who I am is influencing all of you in some way, right? At the same time, I'm being influenced by you and your identities in, you know, critical ways. And then finally, kind of thinking reflectively, what does this mean for us as teachers and our students in our school? So I'm going to pause the recording right now because I would like to have people share out what you think this all means for us as teachers and for our students. I'm recording. And go here. Yay. Okay. So I want to talk now about what are identity texts as we're going to talk about them and use them. So identity texts are artifacts. So they're physical objects that humans produce as a result of having invested their identities into them. They hold up a mirror to the individual in which their identity is reflected back in a positive light. This is really important. We're focused on strength-based, not deficit-based aspects of our identity. Really important for a lot of our students who have low self-efficacy and they don't easily identify the aspects of themselves that are positive. These identity texts can create a space for them to enter into that and start living that part of their identity, which is pretty cool. And they also allow individuals to become ambassadors of their identities, sharing with others who are likely to provide positive feedback and affirmations, right? So these identity texts they can be great for the individual making them, but they're also meant to be social text. They're meant to be shared so that we get to know one another in these more positive ways. And as you can imagine, they really help build community when you're in a classroom context, in a school context as well. Okay, so again here, I want to play a video. I'm going to do a little experiment. Let me pause the recording here. Okay, so let me get this over here on the other computer so they can see it. Sorry. Like, go back and forth. Okay, I also want to just introduce you to this really cool thing called Holly portraits. So this is kind of a cool thing where you can get students like thumbprints. You know, you can do pencil stuff and then on a piece of tape and then on a piece of white paper and then kind of blow it up to where they can make kind of like lines and then put that under a piece of paper and they can use writing in the shape of those lines using the lines that are underneath. And they can write about themselves connected with their thumbprint, which I thought is another really cool activity. And we've been kind of talking about different ways we can use these in the classroom along the way. And I think that's all I have on the slides. So we'll just stop there.